Hey folks, Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking. Thanks for tuning in again. In this episode, we're going to get the brakes installed on the bike. Now, as I mentioned a couple times before in other episodes, this is a 101 series. I put this video series together to show people how to put this bike together, but more specifically go through each step so that if you don't know anything about building a bike, at the end of the series, you'd have a better idea. Would I call you a super wrench or an amazing mechanic for a bike? No, because I'm certainly not. But at least you'd feel more comfortable talking to your bike shop so you could explain exactly what you need because you'd know what to reference. Or you may fix something on your bike now that you couldn't before. Or you may want to go and, jump in and just go and, rebuild your own bike. So either way, this one's going to take a couple extra minutes to do this whole brake one because I really want to cover everything. So the first thing we're going to cover what brakes I'm using. I am using a set of Shimano hydraulic brakes. Your brake options nowadays are going to be either hydraulic or cable. They're generally all going to be disc. There are certainly people that may still want to use V-brakes or something else, but pretty much it's going to be a disc brake of some type, and the actual mechanism that you're going to use to push the little brake pads in, it's either going to be hydraulic fluid, whether it's going to be a dot type fluid or a mineral oil fluid, or it's going to be cable actuated. In this case, we're going to go with Shimano hydraulic brakes. Okay, so we've got our cable, our hydraulic brakes. The rotors that I'm using for these brakes are 180 millimeters. Okay, so for these rotors, I'm going to need a specific bracket to move the caliper off the bike a little bit. We're just going to leave it at that right now because I need to explain to you what post mount is and what IS mount is. So let's just say that for this build, I do need to get some brackets. You may need brackets as well if you're going to enlarge the size, buy bigger rotors for your bike. Not a whole lot of tools really required over here. You're going to need, an Allen key, okay, to put the levers on and to actually attach the adapters and the calipers on. So you're going to need this, and you're going to need a Torx wrench. Okay, let me show you what this one looks like. Notice how it has that star type pattern on it. It might be kind of hard to see, but how about you just trust me on this one. You're going to need this one. There's no getting around that. If you're going to put these on, you need that wrench to put the bolts, because most of them are this style, on the calipers, rather on the rotors, on the hubs of your wheels. But that's really all it's going to take for tools. So let's go and get one of the wheels up here. I'll show you how to install one of the rotors, and then we'll move on from there. All right, it's time to install the rotors, the rotor on the front wheel. Okay, and the process is identical for the rear. So we're just going to do the front one here on the camera, and I'll go do the other one off camera. So when you put on your rotor, you do have to understand that there is a direction. Okay, these are directional. I'll put this in the camera so you can see. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see this or not. I'm hoping you can. It's a little bit tough there. Anyway, there's an arrow pointing in the direction that these are going. They're directional. It's the way that these are built and the way they're designed. If you put them on the wrong way and then you brake, you notice how these go in a certain way, it could almost just collapse. So they're designed a specific way to be put on. You need to do it the right way. You don't mess with this. Okay, I mean, they are your brakes. You put them on here on your hub. Okay. The bolts that you usually have for these already come with some Loctite on them. Okay, notice the blue on here. Okay, notice the blue. The blue is a Loctite that's already set up on these screws for obvious reasons. You don't want this thing to fall off, right? It's your brakes. These brakes also come with this little, it's kind of like a lock washer type of mechanism. It's not in every one of the bikes. It's not really ridiculously necessary. In fact, I've really only seen them on this set of brakes, but regardless, I'm going to put them on. And then you need your Torx wrench. Now, just like I did with the stem when I put the handlebars on, there is a pattern you're going to want to screw these on with. Okay, right now I'm just getting them all on. Okay, but you're going to want to do the same thing, cross pattern. you don't just crank these suckers on and hope for the best. You should use a specific pattern. I'll show you what that is in a minute. Okay, these are all on. Let's get this first one down nice and tight. Okay, it's cranked in there. Now I'm going to go across. Okay, notice I'm going to go across to the other side, and I'm going to crank this one on. Now I'll do the same thing. I'm going to go do this one here. Then I'll go across. Okay, this one here. And again, we're going to go across. Okay, that's in place. Now I'll just kind of tweak them a little bit. You don't want to strip anything, but you do want to get them in there snug. Okay, that one's on there fine. We'll do the same thing for the rear, and then we'll install the brakes. Okay, so we're getting closer. All right, let's finally get these brakes on the bike. All right, the first part is, of course, just to attach the actual brake lever, you know, the whole system to the handlebars. We'll go do that first. This is very, very easy, but let me go show you what it looks like. All right, you're gonna adjust these later on to your own liking, but right now we're just trying to get these installed. Okay, so we're just gonna put them on. You may choose to have the shifter on the inside and the brake on the outside, like where you want to align things. That's up to you. I'm just trying to get this thing on here right now. Okay. Also, this bracket could be different on yours than mine. Some of them just comes all the way open. So if you have grips on, you wanted to take these off, you could just open it up, and it just varies. But for the most part, they're on. We had to get that part done. The same is on the other side. This is the front brake. For the rear brake, the process is the same, so we'll just record this one, and again, you can kind of just trust me on that one. Let's go take the camera down below and get the caliper installed. Okay, time to get the caliper installed. Let's go take a look at that and move this forward. Now, before we put this on, I just want to show you something real quick. Notice the tape and this little plastic device in here. So these were a set of brakes that I had before. I took off another bike and I had them left over, and I'm going to use them for this build. So before I put these in storage, I put this plastic device in between the pads. The reason for that is that this way, if someone accidentally squeezes the lever, the pads won't go all the way in, because this is basically the size of your rotor. Anytime you store your brakes, you want to have one of these in here. Anytime you take your wheel off the bike and your brake caliper is exposed, you want one of these in here. You always want something in here to keep the space between your two brake pads all the time. So that's what this is. Let me get the tape off and let's go and install this. Okay, time to install this on the bike. It's important to take a look at the cable, but the hose routing. Okay, just make sure it's going to line up the way you want. My fork has a little brake boss over here, so this is where it's going to get tie wrapped. So I just want to take a look at that. I'll probably eventually cut this cable down the hose down a little bit, but it's going to go like this and mount on. Okay, so now knowing that and knowing that this is the way it slides in, let's take a look at this for a second. Okay, we'll slide this on and take a look. See that? Notice this gap here. Okay, this opening. That's because if this was 160 millimeter rotor, these could go on flush, okay? But it's not, it's 180, so I have to have a spacer for that. All right, so that's why I have the spacers that I'll put in right now. Before I put the spacers on, let's take a look at what this is. This is called a post mount brake, okay? Because it's a post, you go and screw into the post. The rear is an IS style, okay? You'll see it's different, but just so you know, this is post. Why is this important? Suppose you want to buy new brakes, okay? If you want to buy new brakes, you're going to talk to the bike shop and they're going to ask you, well, what style mount do you have? Is it IS? Is it post? So you get the right one. Then they're going to ask, well, do you want to go with the same style or same size rotor? If you go bigger, well, now you got to get adapters. Okay, so let's put this together now. But like I promised, it was going to be a 101 video, so hopefully you're learning some things along the way. All right, we're going to slide this in. We've got our adapter there. We've got our screws. spacers, and we'll just get this in here. Not too snug at all, just on there, so I can put the bottom one on. Okay, here's the bottom one. Let's put this in. Okay, you don't want to put these on too tight at first. So now, what am I looking for right now? What I'm looking for right now is to make sure that this rotor is fitting nicely inside of here, and that I know that the brake pads are going to grab nicely on it. The other thing too is, like I said, these are not that tight yet, and the reason why I'm not making them that tight yet, see how this thing can kind of slide, is because you're going to spin the tire, okay, and you're going to want to squeeze the brakes, okay. With the lever tightened in with your hand, you then come in here and tighten up these. What you're doing right now is you're centering the caliper. You're centering the caliper on that rotor. Okay, now I can tighten this down a bit. All right, and that's that. Okay, there we go. We got a front brake, folks. We got a front brake. Whew, we're getting closer. Front brake's installed. The only thing left now is just to make it look nice. Eventually, I'll cut these cables down and things like that. But right now, front brake is on. Let's go do the rear brake. For the rear brake, we're going to need a different type of adapter. This adapter is a IS to post mount adapter. All right, it's got mounts. It's got holes in here in the sides for the IS to mount to the frame, and it converts it to a post, IS to post mount adapter. We need this on the bike. This one is for a 180 millimeter spacing, 180 millimeter rotor. Okay, this does go a certain way. Notice it has a little notch up on top. It's kind of longer up on top. It does go a specific way when you mount it onto the bike. Okay, one goes there. These have Loctite on them already, as well as, like I showed you before, with the bolts for the rotors. Okay, let's make this guy snug. This, you want to kind of get this in there nicely, because our brake caliper is going to mount to this. Just like with the front brake caliper, I've got this one all taped up so that I wouldn't have to worry about me screwing things up by accidentally hitting the lever. Okay, I can take that off, and this goes on nicely just like this. All right, we're going to do the same thing as we did before. We're going to keep these a little loose, and we're going to crank on the rear brake this time. Let this center, okay, and then we'll tighten it up. Okay. All right, one or two extra little tweaks over here, and our rear brakes are now installed. So we've got our, wow, we're getting there. Whew, we got our front brakes, we've got our rear brakes. They're installed. Now it's just a matter of me kind of tightening them up a little bit, putting some cable ties on there. I'll do that now off camera, and then we're going to move over to the drivetrain. Okay, mainly the chain. Okay, the shifter and things like that, and get this moving. We're really getting close. So hang in there with me. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Give me your comments, what you would have liked to have me seen differently or done differently. Do you do things differently? Help us all out with your knowledge and share it with everyone. Okay, I'll catch you later on the next one. Bye-bye.